And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry.
Bill Maher is on a mission to dismantle woke logic, and this time, Whoopi Goldberg is in the crosshairs. Ever since 2022, Whoopi's been stacking up a list of head-shaking remarks, and Maher isn't letting a single one slide. His latest takedown was so sharp it had Whoopi metaphorically ducking for cover like a cartoon dodging falling anvils. So what did she say that triggered Maher's fire this time? And how did his brutal response leave the woke crowd scrambling? Buckle up. This isn't just a clash. It's a full-speed collision with no seatbelt.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Whoopi Goldberg has stirred the pot again, and now reality's come knocking with a vengeance. Remember when Bill Maher took down Sunny Hostin for twisting his words? Well, the View crew's not backing down this time. Whoopi stepped in, seemingly on a mission to settle the score, bringing the heat after Sunny couldn't handle Maher's fire. She came in full force, ready to clash like a reality show contestant no one signed up for.
And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Whoopi Goldberg, flipping through the woke playbook like it's scripture. When her argument crashes, she pulls out a straw man and goes on the offensive. Bill Maher was simply pointing out that black Americans want better jobs, a strong economy, and accountable policing. Simple, right? But Whoopi derails by rambling about supporting a former prosecutor and initiatives for the working class. Does that make sense? Of course not. It's like throwing darts blindfolded. And Bill Maher wasn't letting that slide.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Bill Maher pointed out that Whoopi's ideas lack coherence, a hallmark of The View, which has become the political talk show equivalent of a train wreck. It's painful to watch, yet oddly captivating. Known for its divisive, often questionable opinions, the chaos has reached new heights with Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg. Remember when Charlemagne the God appeared as a guest? You could almost see him wondering if he'd entered an alternate universe.
All of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
President Joe Biden, who often declares that no one is above the law, just pardoned his son, Hunter. Biden, after he was convicted on corruption and related charges. This has sparked a wave of criticism. How can Biden uphold the principle of equality under the law when his own son gets off scot-free? It almost seems like justice is turning a blind eye when it comes to the Bidens. Hunter's wrongdoing was as obvious as a child caught with cookie crumbs, yet there were no real consequences. Charlemagne the God stepped in, pointing out the hypocrisy. If the woke crowd insists that no one is above the law, they should start holding their own to the same standard. But of course, Whoopi Goldberg had a different take on the matter.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed his...
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
No, I'm gonna tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
And there it is, another classic cringeworthy moment from Whoopi Goldberg. This time, she actually argued that President Biden wasn't lying when he said that no one is above the law. Seriously, Whoopi. There's a mountain of evidence, videos, audio recordings, and probably even ancient cave drawings that prove Biden made that exact statement.
This nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
Whoopi spin a blatant falsehood is like someone insisting the sky isn't blue while standing under a clear, cloudless sky. At this point, Whoopi's mental gymnastics could qualify for the Olympics, though she'd probably trip over her own logic. You could see the disbelief on Charlemagne's face as he processed her comments. But she didn't stop there. Whoopi went on to claim that maybe President Biden changed his stance because he was tired of being surpassed by others. Charlemagne was left speechless, completely stunned by her assertions.
So I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to do that.
Problem with the so-called woke mob is that they only spotlight wrongdoing when the offender isn't part of their inner circle. But when one of their own is involved, the outrage quickly turns into quiet defense or selective amnesia. Whoopi and her crew managed to dodge accountability, thanks to Charlemagne's presence on the show. However, when Bill Maher caught wind of their antics, he stepped in and delivered one of the most razor-sharp verbal takedowns we've seen in a long time.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bull.
Maher couldn't have put it better. The so-called woke mob loves to present themselves as the ultimate arbiters of truth and morality, but their double standards are now impossible to ignore. Take Hunter Biden, for example. Guilty as charged, yet because his father is in the Oval Office, Hunter gets off without so much as a slap on the wrist. If it were anyone else, the mob would demand their head on a silver platter. But when it's one of their own, justice conveniently takes a back seat to favoritism. This is hypocrisy at its peak, and Ma nailed it, calling out the sham for what it is. The real question is, how much longer will Americans tolerate this behavior? This isn't just about Hunter. It's about a system that bends over backward for the powerful while relentlessly punishing everyone else. Ma's takedown was timely, serving as a wake-up call for those still clinging to the illusion of fairness. What's even more telling is Ma's point about the mainstream media backing the woke mob.
To bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not true.
The media went all out to downplay the Hunter Biden scandal, pulling every trick in the book to protect President Biden and undermine Trump's re-election efforts. Major outlets dismissed the story as Russian disinformation, despite mounting evidence, all while silencing dissenting voices. Whoopi Goldberg eagerly joined in, dismissing the legitimacy of the allegations on The View. But Bill Maher wasn't having any of it. He called her out for defending the indefensible instead of seeking the truth, systematically tearing apart her excuses and exposing the blatant hypocrisy for all to see.
Above any matters of politics or what's right or wrong, the one thing I know for sure about America is this. It's run by mean girls. Mean girls in the press and in politics and in life. And when they smell blood in the water, the lust to finish off a vulnerable person will never be denied.
Or Bill Maher nailed it. The View ladies, especially Whoopi Goldberg, aren't just woke. They're like a pack of relentless sharks, circling and ready to tear down anyone who doesn't conform to their ideological mold. Their debate style isn't about meaningful discussion or seeking truth. It's about silencing opposition and pushing their worldview with snark and dismissive smirks. Whoopi, in particular, has perfected the art of brushing off dissenting opinions like they're beneath her. But Maher wasn't intimidated. He boldly confronted them, exposing their true tactics of bullying disguised as activism. It's no wonder he's become a thorn in their side, continually calling out their hypocrisy for an audience fed up with biased narratives. Maher's takedowns are like a breath of fresh air, cutting through stale, repetitive arguments.
Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office, but they do. But a poll last year asked, if America is the greatest country in the world, more blacks and Hispanic Americans agreed with that than the white progressives. It asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. It asked if government should increase border security. Same result. Hispanic Americans are less okay with illegal immigration than whitey.
Maher argues that the woke mob needs to stop obsessing over Trump's victory and face reality. He didn't steal the election or cheat. He won fair and square because millions of Americans supported his message, no matter how much it angered the progressive left. Instead of blaming Russia, racism, or whatever new scapegoat is trending, it's time to recognize that democracy sometimes means the other side wins. It's not a malfunction. It's how the system works. The sooner they stop playing the victim and start strategizing, the better their chances will be in 2028 or even 2032. Not everyone who supported Trump is a die-hard MAGA enthusiast or worshiping golden statues. Many simply voted for him because they were fed up with the Democrats' preachy tone and the woke mob's growing disregard for common sense. Voters didn't back Trump because of his tweets or antics. They did it because the alternative felt like enduring a sermon from a self-righteous vegan at a BBQ. If the left wants to succeed, they need to stop alienating the middle with fringe ideas and focus on what truly resonates with the average American.
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher truly delivered a masterstroke, dismantling Whoopi Goldberg's arguments with a level of wit and precision that was pure comedy gold. Whoopi, the self-proclaimed queen of the woke movement, made the mistake of challenging Maher for daring to think for himself. Big mistake. Maher's comeback was everything we expect from him, sharp, unfiltered, and hilariously on point. He pointed out the irony of a show like The View, which prides itself on being a platform for diverse opinions, criticizing him for simply having a different perspective. It's ironic that a group constantly preaching tolerance only seems to accept viewpoints that align with their own. Maher exposed the hypocrisy within their woke echo chamber, where critical thinking is overshadowed by tribal allegiance, and dissent is viewed as heresy. Watching Maher tear down their weak arguments was like watching Picasso paint, but with sarcasm and logic as his brushes.